Michael Jackson, one of the most iconic musical artists over the last century, passed away in 2009. Or did he? Michael Jackson, the king of pop, died at the young age of 50. On June 25, 2009, it was reported that Michael Jackson went unconscious while lying down in his bed. After multiple attempts of resuscitation by his personal physician, Conrad Murray, along with attempts by paramedics, Michael Jackson was pronounced dead at the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. The death would light the internet on fire, as millions of people would crash multiple websites like Wikipedia, Twitter, and even Google, who would end up blocking the search term Michael Jackson for 30 minutes due to the high volume of searches. As many people knew, Michael Jackson was not the healthiest person ever. Even though he was in good shape for a 50-year-old, Jackson had various medical issues throughout the years that was constantly covered by media. Multiple canceled shows were the result of the many health problems Jackson would face. From chest pains, bruised ribs, laryngitis, swollen vocal cords, dehydration, extreme levels of stress. This would lead to Michael Jackson's hefty need for prescription drugs, including Valium, painkillers, and morphine. Michael Jackson's water levels were so bad that after performing a concert, he would lose so much water that he would need to wear smaller clothing. Although he had health problems due to his intense work ethic, was he really sick enough to have died at age 50 from cardiac arrest? According to Christopher Rogers, a man who would testify in court against Dr. Conrad Murray, would state that Jackson was healthier than the average person of his age. Rogers said that the arteries around Jackson's heart were free of fat and cholesterol, which is unusual for a 50-year-old individual. 2 months after Michael Jackson's death, the LA County coroner made an official statement classifying Michael Jackson's death as a homicide. Michael Jackson did not die from a cardiac arrest, as most people would report, but he would die from a drug overdose. Many people accept that Michael Jackson is indeed dead, but there are always the curious people that look a little closer to the news and the reports that are thrown at them. Multiple theories surround the death of Michael Jackson, but what if I told you that there is a possibility that the king of pop could still be alive? The circumstances surrounding his death are highly questionable. In the weeks leading up to Michael Jackson's death, he had vowed to perform 10 shows, which quickly rose to 50 shows due to the high demand in ticket sales. Jackson would refer to these shows as the last and final curtain call. Dr. Conrad Murray, Michael Jackson's personal physician, was only employed by Jackson 11 days prior to his death. Many people believe that Dr. Murray was only hired to be the fall person for Michael Jackson's death. Crazy thing is, he was sentenced 4 years in jail, but only ended up serving 2 years due to prison overcrowding and good behavior. 2 days prior to Michael Jackson's death, AEG took out an insurance policy covering the accidental death of Jackson. They definitely made sure to include accidental death caused by prescription medication. Did they have foreknowledge of Michael Jackson's death? People also believe that the man that was taken to the hospital was not in fact Michael Jackson himself, but a terminally ill look-alike, as a paramedic claims to not even recognize the guy as Michael Jackson. The paramedic said in court, "He was very pale and underweight. I thought perhaps this was a hospice patient. He looked like someone who was at the end stage of a long disease process. The patient appeared to be chronically ill." On the same day AEG filed their insurance policy for Jackson, they released a video of Jackson dancing on a stage without any signs of illness. Could this have changed in a matter of 2 days due to medication? Michael's family also had strange behavior following his death. 2 days after Michael Jackson's death, his father Joe Jackson had a rather emotionless interview with CNN, where he showed little grief over the loss of his son and showed more interest in promoting his own personal record label.
I want to make this statement. This is a real good statement here. Marshall and I we owned a record company called
Ranch Records.
Right.
Okay, distributed by Blu-ray Technology. And that's his next step. And that's your next step.
It is also weird that on the day of Michael Jackson's death, there was a flight from LAX to Guadalajara with the landing description as unknown. Could Michael Jackson have been killed by a doctor working for the Illuminati? Or possibly AEG for a hefty insurance payoff? Or could he have faked his death in order to live a normal life out of the spotlight? Michael Jackson stated in multiple interviews that he wanted to retire peacefully and that the music industry was negatively affecting his family and close friends. He would also mention a powerful group of people who wanted to wipe him off the earth due to the secretive information that he knew. Michael Jackson's last phone call before his death was leaked by a guy named Robert Connors, who claims he works for the Department of Defense. Listen to the call for yourself.
I don't know if I should tell you this, but I don't know who may be listening. There may be a group of people that want to get rid of me. They don't want me here anymore, over the phone. I don't know what's going to happen, but I just feel in my soul, only God knows, they could shoot me. They could stab me. They could frame me and say I overdosed on drugs. They can do a lot of things. They can kill me. I don't even care my life anymore. I just want my children to be okay. My angels.
In this call, he mentions a powerful group of people that wants to stage his murder via drug overdose. Is it possible that he could have escaped his death by plotting his own fake demise? In the call, he claims to not have cared about his life anymore. Michael Jackson would always go on record to say that he wanted to live forever and thought of himself as Peter Pan. What if this call could have been planted by Jackson to make his death seem more real? There is also an interview with Akon, who claims that Michael Jackson once had a disguise on and he wanted him to call him Dave.
Looking normal, Mike comes out, he has his disguise on, So as we, talking, sometimes I forget that he's supposed to be in his disguise, And I keep calling him Mike. Right, and this little girl hears it, she's like, and she looks over, and I think she recognized him, I really think she did. So then when I realized she was peeping, then I start calling him Dave.
This leads me to this crazy theory. On September 3rd, 2009, David Rothenberg, also known as Dave, a longtime friend of Michael Jackson's, appeared on a Larry King live show to talk about their friendship. As millions of people watched, people began to believe Dave was actually Michael Jackson in disguise. On the interview with Larry King, Dave's speech and mannerisms strongly resembled that of Michael Jackson's, that even I myself couldn't help but think that it is Michael Jackson. Before you think this is a totally made up person, Dave and Michael Jackson are two different people, and they are in fact longtime friends. There are pictures of them together showing the Thriller era Michael Jackson holding a young David Rothenberg in his arms. Even though they are two different people, what if this Dave in the Larry King interview is actually Michael Jackson? One phrase Michael Jackson would constantly say was Encino House, instead of just saying the house is an Encino.
To his Encino house.
I think I was at the Encino house.
Dave would say this the exact same way as Michael Jackson. Pay close attention. to how wide Dave's shoulders are compared to his MySpace pictures. His shoulders are almost twice as broad. Not to mention, the real Dave had light blue eyes, but somehow the Dave on Larry King Live had brown eyes. Could these be contacts? Or could the camera not pick up the color because of the poor quality? Let's look at the Larry King Live video so we can examine how closely Dave resembles Michael Jackson.
Dave, yes, that's his name, Dave. He was David Rothenberg. He was set on fire in 1983, suffered, as you can see, terrible scars. Michael Jackson befriended him and paid for a lot of his surgery.
Well, to liberate myself from the confines of my father's criminality.
He caused the fire?
Yeah. He is a criminal, and he caused all this. I was about 7 years old at the time.
And were you in the hospital?
I was not in the hospital at the time. I was in interim, back and forth. The visit to his Encino house was very impromptu. Paul McCartney records, all over this, The Girl Is Mine, and, you know, this and that. I felt a little tap on my shoulder, and I turned around, and there was Michael.
Hold it right there.
And you know what, Larry?
What?
At that moment, we embraced, and that embrace never ended throughout our whole entire friendship.
While watching the video, you can obviously tell how nervous Dave is. The best explanation for this could possibly be the fact that he is on live television. Or could it be Michael nervously getting ready to get in character? As you listen to him speak, you can tell he sounds very similar to Jackson. But many people can sound like him as well. But the word choices he uses, such as legacy and Encino house, are very similar to the way Jackson words his sentences. Dave also uses similar facial expressions, and even the way he pauses is similar. After evaluating that interview, I also found two other interviews with Dave, with one being in 1996 and the other 2015. I believe these two are with the real Dave. Dave recently appeared on a doctor's show in 2015. The Dave in this interview has less broad shoulders, and his voice and mannerisms are not as close to Michael's as in a 2009 interview with Larry King.
Whether or not I think we're all human beings, and we all have different emotions and different feelings. However, we all have different challenges and different things to deal with. Currently, I'm showing at Joseph.
Various clips even exist online of Dave that shows a totally different voice, such as this one here.
What's up, motherfuckers? It be Double D. I'm about to drop some records here on YouTube. Y'all be recognizing, because I'll be socializing with your motherfuckers. Double D on the streets.
If the Dave conspiracy is true, this wouldn't be the first time that Michael has used a disguise. Michael Jackson was dressed as a more heavyset mayor in the 1996 short film Ghost. In this movie, Michael Jackson has a much deeper voice, so if Michael really wanted to, he can make his voice much deeper, especially if he wanted to stay in disguise. One question would be, why would Michael Jackson use a voice that was similar to his if he is completely capable of toning down his voice? Is Michael Jackson really pretending to be Dave in the 2009 interview with Larry King? Or is Dave only trolling fans that think he is Michael Jackson for attention? One note I found online is allegedly written from an anonymous friend of Dave. He notifies Dave of a website online that published an article about him and Michael Jackson's death being a hoax. He even described multiple phone calls with Dave, as he described how pathetic and stupid the people were to believe such crazy theories. The guy would tell Dave to stop playing with the heads of MJ fans by posing as him, and that he shouldn't do that as Michael's friend. He also recalls Dave yelling at him over the phone, saying, "If Michael fans are stupid enough to think I'm Michael, then let them do it." The guy would tell Dave that he should at least post a comment on his MySpace page to deny the theory of him possibly being MJ, but he would refuse. He recounts leaving multiple comments on Dave's page, only for him to delete them shortly after. But for some reason, he would not delete the curious fans' comments who posted on his page asking if he was Michael Jackson. Dave apparently had a MySpace music page, even though he is known to have no musical talent whatsoever, with the headline, "The Man, the Myth, the Legend." The anonymous guy would then state that Dave was jealous of Michael Jackson, and that he wanted people to think he was MJ by trying to mimic him. The letter is anonymous, and anyone could have written the email. It does sound believable, but you may never know if it's real or not. Could this be why Dave sounds completely different on a doctor's show? Maybe he knew it was time to stop the crap and listen to his anonymous friend. If he is acting as Michael Jackson, he is one hell of an impersonator. It is not surprising if Michael Jackson faked his death in order to live a normal life, something Michael Jackson had always wanted. Tell me what you think about this crazy theory. Do you think Michael Jackson really died in 2008? Is Dave Michael Jackson? Or is this theory completely insane and should just be left in the past? Maybe Michael Jackson is somewhere in Mexico hitting his moonwalk in a plaza. As always, thanks for watching, and make sure you go check out my last episode, The Real Man in Black. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video. Thank you.